Alright, so here we have a 2-speed Tristar. It's strange, despite being marked as a CXL, it seems to have an older body design to it. Like, I've had a few CXLs and DXLs over the years, and they usually have a cord hook up here. This doesn't even have, like, the screw hole for it. And then, of course, instead of having, like the rubber grip or whatever here with the metal foot switch, this entire assembly here moves, and the exhaust cap here reveals that it actually goes, the exhaust path goes straight down, as to where the other CXL and DXL models have usually had a plastic cage back here that was slightly angled inwards. And I know when I've tested my I used to have a private label Tristar. It was a C8, and I think I always get the name wrong, but I think it was like Sir Anthony James or something like that. It was a sewing machine company, and they had a private label Tristar made for them, which I gave to another, or sold to another collector, and he ended up repainting it and such. It was kind of this ugly brownish color, but the point I was getting at was these caps are actually a little bit more restrictive than you would think, despite their pretty loosely woven material and pretty open design. So just to see what sort of effect it has, I think when we're taking body measurements, we're just going to take that off there and see how it does increase, but I'll put it back on for the remainder of the testing. So part of the reason for me to buy this was because I wanted to see what motor was in here. Now, I couldn't actually find markings on it that told me what they were. And since I had done the service work on it a little while ago, I was waiting for a new foam seal for the brush roll cavity on this. I kind of don't remember where I put the photos for that, but it was a pretty standard 2-stage motor, but it had 3 wires. It doesn't really help me try to identify it, but just is what it is. Alright, and we'll start this with the brush roll off. We can do low and high, although I'm not going to measure the airflow on low. I just don't like to take the time to do that. So let's start it off on low, no power nozzle. Switch it to high. And now we got the power nozzle hooked up. So, weird thing about this, there's a lot of air that shoots out around the speed control switch. It's like I've noticed when people show pictures of this thing being opened, like for a cleaning, you know, there's often a lot of like carbon dust buildup around these. And, well, I guess we have our answer. Lots of leakage right around this. And I'm guessing, you know, partially because of that cap. And as I always do, I have everything in here, you know, I have the exhaust cap on here. We'll remove that after we get our initial set of numbers, and then we have our motor filter, our cloth bag, and then a Vacuum America Clean HEPA bag. Is it overkill? Yes, but I just do it anyways. Okay, let's get on to it. Okay. Now that we have our reading, let's take the exhaust cap off. Yeah, you wouldn't think such a simple little thing like that would be as restrictive as that is, but it is. we got the hose set up, so take the airflow reading at the end of here. I did put that cap back on. Now, it is worth mentioning the wands have some denting on them. I've tried to remove that, but I haven't had much luck. I just don't have a very good way to kind of get in there and force it back into shape. I don't know how much of an effect that would actually have, but it's like, as I said, just worth mentioning. Because of course the button locks leak a little bit. Alright, power nozzle's off. I made sure to set it to the shag setting. And I know this is another nosedive power nozzle because I tested the suction with the different settings, and we get the highest reading on the shag setting. Alright, before I get to the pickup performance, I just wanted to show the brush roll on here. Tristar machines have come with several brush rolls over the years. This one has the plastic beater bar on it, which I'm not super fond of. They become chipped, and sometimes they'll develop sharp edges on them, which I think, you know, are prone to potentially damaging carpet. While there are some rough spots, there's nothing that immediately stands out to me as a potential problem. And we also have a stretch belt on here. My DXL has the all bristle brush roll with the geared belt, but I'm also going to tape the wands together for this portion just to be sure we don't separate. So, just based upon what we've seen here, you know, the 2-speed one wasn't as powerful as the later ones using the, what was it, 116884 motor. You know, and some people might say, you know, oh, this one's better because it has 2 speeds to it. Well, it's like, I disagree. I wouldn't give up cleaning power just to have a lower speed. It's kind of unfortunate that these never had a suction relief on them. It's like that would have been kind of a better way to go versus, you know, having that 2-speed and losing power. But these may have come before those. I'm a little unclear on their timeline exactly. Still, it's not terrible, you know, it's still pretty good, but just a letdown compared to models we've seen.